Sunday sit-down time. Joining me now virtually is the Kansas City Star's own Souichi Terada. Souichi, how's your Sunday going so far?
It's good. You caught me napping like we were talking, so it's watch a Chiefs game, took a quick nap, out to eat, so can't complain.
That's the beauty of Zoom, is all you gotta do is just make sure you got a shirt on and you're good to go. Well,
Yeah,
we
you're right.
appreciate
That's
having you on.
yeah.
I know this weekend went exactly how every single Missouri sports fan thought it would. The Chiefs lose, and Mizzou beats LSU, right?
Yeah, exactly. I tweeted the same thing. It started off great, I guess, if you're a Mizzou/Chiefs fan, which a lot of my readers are over at the Star. But yeah, I mean, Mizzou pulled off kind of a miraculous game, especially with the way it ended. I think it was a funny way of ending it, just with Mizzou stopping, LSU right at the 1 yard line. LSU actually even lost a half a yard, which I thought was pretty cool, I guess, for the Mizzou defense. And then you go back and you watch the Chiefs put up some points, but that defense doesn't look great. So it's just one of those things where you got to play the games, and football, that's just the way it goes sometimes. And I think it's kind of the beauty of sports in some ways.
So how did Mizzou beat the 17th best team in the country that also won the national championship just about 8 or 9 months ago?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you got to realize is, one, give credit to Mizzou, but that isn't the same LSU team as it was last year. I mean, you see Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the Chiefs now, who obviously played and lost today, but he's been looking good, and he was a big centerpiece of that. And you got Joe Burrow, and I believe the stat was something ridiculous, like 14 players got drafted in the NFL last April. So that's part of a reason why. But at the same time, though, you got to give Mizzou credit, just because those are still the thing with LSU and Bama and all those teams in the SEC is that they're going to reload even if they do lose 14 NFL players, just because of the sheer amount of 4- and 5-star recruits they're able to get. So that was still a very talented LSU team. I think we saw that. Miles Brennan, the new quarterback, he slung it for, I believe, was 430 yards yesterday. And you see Terrence Marshall, third best LSU wide receiver last year in 2019, and he torches that Mizzou secondary for, I believe, 235 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. So there's still a lot of talent at the end of the day, but Mizzou was still able to pull it off. I mean, right at the end, when the defense needed to step up, that's exactly what they did, with Nick Bolton and Joshua Butler making a couple of great plays on 3rd and 4th down.
You mentioned some of the things that the Mizzou did wrong. The 3 turnovers, 17 points scored from LSU off those turnovers. So by no means was Mizzou perfect in this game, and they still were able to win. And in past years, we haven't been able to say that about Mizzou. It was no margin for error, and this time there seemed to be. Is that maybe a change of the times, or is this a unique situation, you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's only one game. We're 3 games into the Eli Drinkwitz era. I think it is. I think, give them credit, though. Our columnist Vahe Gregorian wrote kind of something similar yesterday in his column, in the sense that, under past regimes, past few years, just like you mentioned, Andrew, like, this probably was a game that Mizzou fans were rightfully kind of doom and gloom about, in the sense that they were going to blow it. When Mizzou could have really kind of laid low, I think, was after that Larry Roundtree fumble. I didn't, in the press box, things are kind of happening really quick. I know some fans weren't exactly too happy that there wasn't review, but, Mizzou could have definitely been like, okay, well, we gave it our best shot. At this point, our senior captain, running back, so dependable, he fumbles the ball at the 4-yard line, and then LSU scores on a couple plays later. Like, at that point, it would have been really easy for Mizzou to have been like, okay, we did good. These are the reigning, national champions. Give them credit for that, no matter how bad they looked yesterday. And it would have been really easy to just been like, okay, yeah, we did good. But no, they did the exact opposite of that. They played extremely hard. They put up points at this torrid pace, and it really was just a really exciting game, I think.
Well, after the game, Drinkwitz was asked if this was a statement type of win for him, and he said no. He said there's still 7 games left, but I guess that's probably what any coach would say. Do you think that this is a big win for the program, that we'll look back in a couple of years and look to this one as what kind of propelled Mizzou back to where it was?
Yes, in the sense that Eli Drinkwitz and the Tigers and Mizzou can continue racking up those wins, people are going to rightfully point to yesterday as, okay, this was really the start of something. Because you got to realize too, like, you got the off-field stuff, and Eli mentioned this, like, you got COVID, you got social justice, a reckoning of our country happening the past few months, and you got to think, like, they were doing what we were doing over Zoom. Like, no matter, you can do whatever you want over Zoom, and you can bond over Zoom. I made a like, for example, I made a really good friend over Zoom. You got to consider all those things, and they were still, and they still, you can tell, like, they still trust their coach, and I think you saw that yesterday. And I think a mentally weak team or poorly coached team wouldn't pull that off yesterday. But if they go 1-9 this year, and I guess that's one extreme that people aren't really gonna care, I guess, too much at the end of the year, just because that's just what football is, man. It's every Chiefs fans are really really mad right now because they lost to the Raiders, and sure, it's the Raiders, but they have good players, and that's just football. Every week kind of defines the ebbs and flow of them, or every game kind of defines the ebbs and flow of the next week.
Do you think that Mizzou has its quarterback for the future now with Connor Bazelak? He's only a freshman. Lots of time to grow, putting up 400-plus yards, 4 touchdowns against the defending national champs.
Yeah, I mean, you got Connor Bazelak, who's a redshirt freshman, and he's going to be a redshirt freshman next year in the sense that he can play till 2024, with the NCAA, the blanket waiver, freezing eligibility. Yeah, I mean, right now, at the end of the day, like, we haven't gotten any indication that it's not going to be Bazelak. I think it's really easy right now to say Mizzou has its quarterback of the future, but let's see this for a few more weeks before we anoint him the starter for the next 4 years. I guess it's fun to be like, whoa, 400. I think it was like 405 yards, 4 touchdowns on the incredible, absolutely incredible performance. He has some great throws too, and I think his arm really gave Drinkwitz that luxury of just being able to be an aggressive play caller and do things on first and second down, because they knew that they could, if it was 2nd and 25 or something after personal foul, or 2nd and 20, they were still able to move the chain just because of Bazelak's arm.
Well, Souichi, the curse is over for you. Mizzou gets a big win with you on the beat, so Mizzou fans can't come at you anymore about that.
Yeah, I think it was 1-5 last year, now 1-2, so I guess 2-7. Quick math in my head. Yeah, I tweeted that out. Don't want to be labeled a curse, especially if they can string together a winning streak at Vanderbilt next week, which I believe is about a 17, 18-point favorite at home. So Mizzou should definitely take care of business there. Unlike last year, which was actually my first game on the beat.
Oh, well, hopefully it'll come full circle and things will turn around. Well, Souichi Terada from the Kansas City Star. You do a great job covering all things Mizzou athletics. Thank you so much for virtually coming on, and you can get back to sleep now, I guess.
Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll be right back after this.